Okay, we're going to try this on the iPad instead of the iPhone. See if this makes a difference. Getting a little glare. Is that better? Yeah, a little bit better. All right, see if we have enough light in here. It's like getting to twilight. This is the first time I spent this much money on comics in a while, and also the first time I've actually hit two comic shops since, probably one of the free comic book days a while back. Well, anyways, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to go sort of alphabetically by publisher, and if that makes any sense to you. The first one is, even though when you first glance at it, this threw me, it was in my pull list, and I couldn't figure out why. This is Watchvark, Watchvark, from Aardvark Vanaheim, and this is actually a continuation of Cerebus in Hell, with pretty much the same drawings from the Dante illustrations, and it's clever. I've been enjoying the series, and it continues. As I say, unfortunately, Dave Sims claims he can't draw anymore, so hopefully whatever problems he's having will continue. Anyways, it's clever. I'm enjoying it, and I recommend it. If you're a Cerebus fan, I hope you check it out. Wrong pile. Okay, first issue from, now it's called DC Universe, which I guess this is designated as mainstream DC. This is the first issue of The Signal, formerly Not Quite Robin, from the Batman series. Can't recall his name offhand, but anyways, he was sort of taken under Batman's wing, so to speak, and it was never made an official Robin, but now has his own designation. And apparently, this is supposed to be, since Batman currently usually works at night, the Signal is someone who can sort of take his place during the day, and we'll see how that works. Anyways, looking forward to it. I found the character interesting, especially given his backstory with the Joker and everything like that. And this says it's a 3-issue miniseries, which I hadn't realized. I guess I thought this was continuing, but I guess they'll check it out, and they can always include issues 4 and 5 if they decide to expand it. We'll see what happens. Okay, Black Lightning from my good pal, the Tony Isabella. This is the 3rd issue. Cold Dead Hands, another mini-series, a 6-issue mini-series. Hopefully, if the response is good, and from all I've read is it seems to be really good, is they will continue it. And just a reminder that there are some changes to the Black Lightning continuity we've seen in comics, and this has no tie-in except for the character name and powers to the upcoming series later this month, which I'm really psyched about. It looks really good. Okay, here is one of the Hanna-Barbera titles that DC is putting out. This is the 3rd issue of the Jetsons. Things are really going downhill. It seems to be a major apocalyptic event about to transpire. And as I said last time, I'm really enjoying this. You have Rosie. I won't give her backstory away, but you'll read more about it unless they're going to drop it. And of course, you have Jane, who's actually a scientist in here. George still working for Mr. Spacely, and I think that's getting old. The Spacely seems really like a one-note character, and I can't understand why. It makes no sense why George continues to work for him in this continuity. And as I say, hopefully that just either it's explained or they just kind of drop it. Because that's the only thing in the series so far that it just annoys me, because it doesn't make sense why he continues. Okay, here we go. Exit stage left. Snagglepuss. The Snagglepuss Chronicles, based on the character from the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Perfect title for it. And of course, Exit Stage Left is this takes place during the time of the witch hunts back in the McCarthy area. Snagglepuss is a playwright and also happens to be gay. Which I guess, back then, if you're progressive and you were homosexual and thought to be a communist, you really weren't going to probably get much support. So I'm just curious to see where they go with this. It doesn't say it's a mini-series, but I'll be curious to see how long they can go and where they go with it. Fingers crossed that he's not too much of a caricature, although he was pretty much created to be a caricature in a way. I guess so. He's kind of, I guess, like a Tennessee Williams, Truman Capote-esque character, and we'll see what happens. I do love that cover though. That's really nice with him, holding up the martini glass and as the Statue of Liberty wrapped in the flag. It'll be curious to see how political they can get. All right, going from DC, we're going over to Dark Horse. And we got Sherlock Frankenstein and the Legion of Evil. This is the second issue of that series, which ties in with the Black Hammer series, if you're familiar with that. And that's quite entertaining. If you haven't read the Black Hammer, I recommend you pick it up. Black Hammer was a group of superheroes who are fighting a creature, and while they destroy the creature, they somehow they disappear, and it turns out that they aren't dead, but are just somewhere else, and living, trying to lead new lives. And in this sort of goes in backstory about their villains, what the villains were up to, gives you a little more about it, and this is about a journalist trying to track down her father, who was Black Hammer. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to blow this. I'm going to say Koshai. I don't know how you say it, but this is a tie-in with Hellboy. This is a character who is immortal and was came under the control of the Baba Yaga, who sent him to kill Hellboy. And this is how he became Koshai, the Deathless. And it should be interesting. Again, one of 6. I've never been disappointed in any of the Mike Mignola, Mignolaverse or Hellboy BPRD related titles, and I don't think this is going to be any different. Okay, going to Image, or their Skybound, which is Robert Kirkman's imprint over at Image, and this is Redneck. If you're not reading Rednecks, you really are. You really should pick it up. Pick up the trade paperback, which contains the first half dozen issues about these redneck vampires who still pretty much redneck. Just because you're a vampire doesn't make you any smarter or change your ways. Still love good beer, although the beer laced with blood. And how they get along, what goes on. Not always happy stories, but we're seeing what's happened now that they're driven out of town, and tagging along with one of their old nemesis, who's now one of them. So check it out. Image, one of the best comics currently out there. Paper Girls, not necessarily an all ages book, but I think for older teens, there is talk about death, and there are deaths. There are the girls smoke. They swear. Turns out that one of them has discovered that she might grow up to be gay, which it's weird. It jumps around in time travel. At least I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I might have to go back and read the whole thing again. I think this is 19. I think the first two trade paperbacks, or maybe there's 3 by now, collect 5 to 6 issues each. I highly recommend it. It's girls who are delivering newspapers by bike back in the 80s. And I think I described it last time. It's sort of time travel, coming of age story, and now with giant robots. Okay, the one Marvel title that I picked up this week is Guardians of the Galaxy Infinity Quest. This reintroduces Warlock, who was originally called him when he was introduced in the Cocoon by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby way back in the Fantastic Four, whatever it was, doing their run. I want to say it was part of the High Evolutionary story, but I get confused after a while. Anyways, as he went from being him to being Adam Warlock, and a pretty fascinating character. I put him right up there with the original Captain Marvel as one of the really great creations. Back then, he's disappeared. You see that he's introduced, or reintroduced in a way, in the second Guardians film by that Golden Race. I will see if he has anything to do with either the third Guardians film, or if he shows up in the Infinity Wars, although I think introducing him along with Captain Marvel might be a bit too much, since that movie looks a little overcrowded. Although you never know what they're going to do in the post-credit scenes, so it would be nice to see what Adam Warlock would look like. I'm looking forward to it. My understanding is 151 had been announced. I think there was even I think I saw a cover for it. It might have been Comic Shop News. And it's been this is the last issue, I understand, is they've canceled it. And with 150, I have to find out more about it. I don't really keep up. I try to keep up with some of the comics-related stuff in Comic Shop News, but as usual, Comic Shop News, they print this stuff up, and usually by that time it's like weeks behind in what's going on. I should really do better at keeping track, I guess. But anyways, Adam's back. If you're interested, Guardians, always entertaining titles, and we'll see what happens there and how they end it. If it really is a bad